Good afternoon. My name is Edward Duncan, and I'm a member of Mindful Harlem. And today I would like to share with you something which I truly believe to be transformational in terms of my life and reconnecting with the essence of my being. Back in January of 2017, a close dear friend of mine introduced me to meditation and mindfulness. And that was the beginning of my spiritual journey regarding just placing a tremendous emphasis on self-care from a mental, emotional, and psychological standpoint. And what I've learned in the past 3 years is just the recognition and realizing that my essential being is not predicated on my house, my home, my wife, my kids, but this presence which is indescribable and that has always been with me, but it's been obscured to a certain degree by objective experiences. But by slowly but surely looking beyond the objective experiences, I've come to realize in the backdrop, in the background, is this incredible presence, which again is indescribable, but it's the basis of what we are. Within mindfulness, besides meditation, yoga, and various other practices, one of the big practices that we incorporate is mindful walking. For many people, sitting still and meditating for 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes can be very challenging. So mindful walking is an opportunity to essentially self-remember, to develop the landscape, to stay present, to be aware of your surroundings, the sounds, your thoughts, the sensations and vibrations going throughout your body without necessarily being distracted by any of it, but by observing and gently and lovingly and skillfully, just not judging it, but just being aware and observant of everything that is arising and dissipating. One of the great things about mindful walking is that you don't have to go anywhere special to do it. You can be in your home. You could be at work. You can be on a platform or train station, and you can just take a few steps in each direction and just ground yourself and just be aware of every step that you're taking, every sensation that you may feel in your hip and the bottom of your feet. And if you get distracted by thoughts, just when you realize that you're being distracted, just gently and lovingly come back to the sensations in your feet, the feeling of your feet on the ground. Again, without judging, because there is no right or wrong way to practice mindful walking. It's just trying to create the landscape to be present with everything that is occurring as it arises and also as it dissipates. So over the course of the next few minutes or so, I'm going to take you through the mindful walking practice. And before we start, one of the things that I find so beneficial for me is a quick body scan, just to get in touch with the body before we start walking. So what I typically do is I just stand comfortably. I feel my feet on the ground, and I start with going with the sensations of my feet. Just becoming aware and noticing and paying attention to my feet, feeling the sensations, feeling my feet on the grass, on the ground. And then I move up to my shins. I feel my shins, the slight sensations or vibrations that may be there. I move to the calves. Let's sense our knees, our thighs, our hamstrings. And what you notice as we're doing these body scans is that these slight sensations or vibrations, or you may not feel anything at all, These are sensations and vibrations that are there all throughout the day. We just don't pay attention to it, but they're there all the time. It's the intelligence of the body. Moving up to our hips, to our arms, to our shoulders, to our chest area, feeling your stomach. Go into your back, feeling the sensations in your neck, feeling the right side of your face, the left side of your face, your forehead, the top of your head, going back down to the arms and focusing on the elbows, our forearms, our wrists, feeling the tingling sensations in our fingers and in our thumbs. Okay, and that was a quick body scan, which again is just acknowledging and being present with the sensations and the vibrations, energy, which is essentially running throughout our bodies all day and every day. And typically after I do a body scan, I'll do a series of just deep breathing exercises, again, just to get in touch with the breath and to further reinforce that feeling of groundedness. So we can start with taking a deep breath. Let's count for 4 seconds, and a slow exhale for 4 seconds as well. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And gently release. 1, 2, 3, 4. Try and focusing on the diaphragm. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Last one. Inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. At this point, you should start to feel a little groundedness. I'm standing here in the park, and what I notice is that besides feeling my feet on the ground, there's the sounds and the wind in the background. I feel the sun on my head and on my back. I notice the thoughts that are popping in my head without getting consumed or caught up in the thoughts, but just being present with everything that's going on in a loving and gentle way without trying to be aware, but just allowing it and being receptive to everything that's arising and dissipating. At this point, we're going to start the mindful walking session. Before we start walking, I just want to let you know, with mindful walking, it could be as short as 5 steps, or it can be 10 steps, 10 to 15 steps in either direction. So I'm going to focus on probably doing about 10 steps in each direction. And once I get to 10 steps, I'll probably just stop and gather myself and collect and get regrounded before I start walking in the opposite direction. Again, just to emphasize, there is no right or wrong in mindful walking. The objective, without trying to be an objective, is to just be aware and be present of everything that is transpiring as we're mindfully walking. Okay. So I'm going to start over here. I'm going to gather myself, again, get reconnected with the ground, with the grass, and with my feet. And with each step, at whatever pace you feel comfortable with, just feel the rising of your feet and the replanting on the ground. The rising of your feet, replanting on the ground. Feel the sensations in your hips, in your hands. If thoughts come up and you get distracted by your thoughts, don't judge yourself. Just when you realize that you're being distracted, Just pause, recollect yourself, and come back to being present with the soles of your feet on the ground. As I reach the destination, I just slow down and collect myself and just gather. And as I'm doing this, again, I feel the sun on my head. I feel the sweat going down my back. I feel the sounds, the beautiful breeze, and just the beauty of nature as we begin to walk again. Slowly, methodically, at your own pace, without trying to be aware, but just being receptive and embracing everything that is arising in awareness. Again, it's important to intuitively understand that there is no right or wrong way to mindfully walk. Mindfulness is what we are, it's not what we do. During this time of the pandemic and the uncertainty that the pandemic has brought up, it's so easy to get caught up in our anxiety and in our narratives that are constantly flowing through our heads. This is a tremendous tool to utilize in order to just lovingly and gently come back to the present and just try and put the thoughts, the distractions, the anxieties to the side and focus on the body, on the sensations and the vibrations that are flowing through the body. At any and all times throughout our lives, the body speaks an intelligence that sometimes we're not connected with. And mindful walking is a way to reconnect with that intelligence in the body. I'm feeling the grass crunch under my sneakers. I'm feeling the sensations in my hips and my knees as I mindfully walk. I'm feeling the stiffness in my lower back. I'm feeling the thoughts arise and dissipate. And I'm not judging them. I'm not trying to interpret them. I'm just observant and aware of them. And every time I get distracted, I just come back to the sensations in my feet, feeling my feet on the ground before I start the journeyless journey of mindful walking. Because we're essentially walking without an objective, without a journey. We're just walking to nowhere, but just mindfully being aware of everything in our surroundings, everything coming up in our minds, the energy, the vibrations, and just observing it without trying to fix it, without trying to manipulate it, and without trying to do anything about it. But just through inquiry, observation, receptiveness and allowance, and just being present with it all. Again, if you notice, after I reach the end, about 10 paces or so, I just stop and gather myself and collect and just reconnect with the earth, Just recenter myself before I go in the opposite direction. And the beauty, again, is you don't have to go anywhere to be able to do this. You can do this in the safety and familiarity of your own home. And again, you don't have to walk a mile. It can just be 5 to 10 paces in each direction. It could be for 2 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Again, just to reconnect with our essential being and with who we are. And that is essentially for walking. One of the things I like to do after I mindfully walk and just reconnect with my essential being is just go into some light stretching to just further reinforce that awareness, being present. So some of the things that I like to do is just grab my right arm and with my left arm on my elbow, just gently pull my right arm in to feel that stretch in the shoulders. Do a 10 count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. Do the opposite with the other arm, left arm, and use your right arm against your left elbow and gently guide your left arm towards your body. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. Next stretch, right arm. We'll call a windmill. Just go backwards 5 times and then change directions. 3, 4, 5, and now go forward. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Left arm. Start going backwards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And now we go forwards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Again, as we're doing these stretches, we're not trying to hurt ourselves or stretch until putting our bodies in uncomfortable positions, but just gently and lovingly and sensitively just stretching out our bodies. Again, there's no right or wrong. If it's too uncomfortable, if you don't have the range of motion, just get to the point where you can get to without trying to overdo it. Next stretch we're going to do is we're going to lean to our left and with our right arm, and you want to try and stretch to a comfortable position without hurting yourself. And we'll go for a 10 count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now we'll switch sides. We'll lean to our right with our left arm extended over our heads. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Next stretch, we'll have our feet shoulder width apart, hands on our hips, on our waist, and just gently, move let's start in a clockwise position, where we're just moving around slowly and just trying to release some of the kinks and the stiffness that might be in our hip joints or in our waist. And then we can go in the opposite direction. Okay. And the other we can do is just our shoulder raises, where take a deep breath in, count to 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and let go. Again, deep breath, hold it, let it go, and we'll do it one more time. Deep breath, raise your shoulders up, let it go. Lastly, we could gently just kick out our legs. Let's loosen up our legs. And as we're doing that, we can shake our arms just to loosen up. Okay. And typically, I'd like to close with just a few more deep breathing exercises. Okay, so this one will, on the inhale, we'll count to 6 if you can, and we'll count to 6 on the exhale. And again, we're trying to focus on breathing from the diaphragm, all right? In the nose and either out your nose or out your mouth, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Last one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I hope this brief mindful walking session has resulted in a bit of ease, a bit of calmness to you this afternoon. And again, this is something that is accessible at any time during the day, in your home, amongst friends, in a safe space. And it doesn't require walking a long distance, a few paces in each direction. When you feel like you're getting distracted, you can just stop and pause and reground yourself, collect yourself, and get back to the feeling in the soles of your feet on the ground, and continue with the mindful walking. Thank you so much for allowing me to share this intimate and loving and transformational experience with you guys. Thank you. Namaste. I wanted to talk to you today against something which I think is the greatest gift we can give to humanity, which is self-care. And what I mean by self-care is just the creating the landscape to go inwards, for lack of a better term, in terms of recognizing our essential being. 3 years ago, I was introduced to mindfulness and meditation through a close, dear former coworker and friend. And initially, I started the process of meditation in the hopes of trying to become better. Because I was always under the impression that by becoming better, that I would allow myself to become happier or to create that joy and happiness. And what I found through the spiritual journey of going inwards was that I am that happiness, I am that peace, and I am that joy. And once I determined and recognized that the happiness doesn't come from objective experience, such as making money or having a home. And once I was able to realize and recognize that I'm not my thoughts, I'm not my experiences, I'm not my emotions. Actually, I'm not a man, and although I'm black, but being black is not the essential part of my being. And by slowly but surely stripping those objective experiences away, I came to recognize that what I am is just awareness and consciousness. And this appearance that you see is just a vibration of that awareness and that consciousness. Okay, so I'm just a portal of expression of awareness and consciousness. And through mindfulness, again, I was able to come to that recognition of who I am. And it's been a transformative 3 years in the sense that I truly believe and innately feel, and I can't articulate it, but that nothing can overwhelm me. It doesn't mean that every moment is good. I have my challenges, but I intuitively understand that what I am is not affected, is not touched by the various emotional or mental states that come and go. But my being is never perturbed, it's receptive, it's loving, and it's spacious. And once you begin to understand that, you realize that I am happiness, I am joy, I am peace, I am love. And I don't have to go outside of myself in order to find those things. I don't have to look to be with my wife or with a particular partner, or I don't have to have this fancy job or this car in order to obtain that love, peace, and happiness. It's intrinsic within me. I am that. And prior to my journey, it was obscured by constantly trying to acquire certain things. And through this journey, I recognized that I am the source. I am the source. It's just like the sun. The sun illuminates whatever it directs its rays towards. But the sun doesn't have to do anything to illuminate itself, because it is illumination, and that's its nature. And that's what the spiritual journey has taught me, is that I don't have to do anything else to find peace, happiness, or joy, because that is my nature. And being informed with that, it just changes and transforms your perspective regarding life. And now my decisions that I make and what I intend to do are informed by that understanding, as opposed to trying to do things in order to find what I've come to realize that I already have. And So consequently, the paradigm in which I look at life through is totally different than I did 3 years ago. And it's just this, for lack of a better term, this quiet voice, this quiet presence that is in the background, but it's also immersed in everything that I do. And it can't be touched, it can't be seen, but it's there. And what I'm discussing is something that is accessible to everybody because we're all that. We all share this being, and you don't have to be enlightened in order to come to the realization and understanding that love, peace, and happiness is what we are. And that's why the spiritual practice, in the Zen tradition or Buddhist tradition, is called the practice of non-doing, because there's nothing to do except relax and be receptive to the arising of it and to allow the reconnection of it. So again, as I started out, and that's why I say that self-care is the greatest gift that we can give ourselves and humanity, because once you start to begin to come to this understanding of what you are, your friends, your family, and everyone are blessed with this, because what you are is what you convey and what you project to the world. And if you come to the realization that you love, peace, and happiness, that's what you convey, and that's what you're going to project in all your relationships, in all your endeavors. And it doesn't mean that you don't go out and that you don't try to make more money or buy a bigger house, but how you go about doing it is coming from an organic, natural, loving place as opposed to trying to acquire something because I don't feel complete. So understanding that I am complete changes the game exponentially. And then you just go out and enjoy and live your life and be the full expression to the universe. So again, I can't stress enough the importance of self-care and reconnecting and recognizing our essential being. Meditation is the practice of non-doing. And when I started meditating, I would wake up early every morning and I would sit on a yoga mat and I started sitting for 10 minutes. And during those 10 minutes, what I focused on, besides sitting comfortably, was just focusing on my breath. And I would just focus on the inhalation and the exhalation. Whether the breath was deep or whether it was short or choppy. And invariably, as I was focusing on my breathing, thoughts would come. And I would get distracted by my thoughts. And each time I got distracted and I realized that I was being distracted, I just came back to the breath. And I would follow the breath. And again, I would become distracted. And each time I got distracted, I would come back to the breath. So I'm saying this to say that when you meditate, what I would recommend is, first of all, starting out with 5 minutes or so, and you don't have to sit in a lotus position. You don't have to sit on the floor. You can just sit comfortably on a chair. You can lay down on your bed. You want to be as comfortable as you can to allow for yourself to just relax and to just be, so that there's as little tension as possible. And how I started was just spending 5 minutes or so, just trying to be present with my breath, with the inhalation, exhalation, and again, just observing, being receptive to it, and embracing it without trying to judge. There is no right or wrong, but just connecting with a direct experience of what's arising and what's dissipating. And as you start the practice, you'll find that you'll be easily distracted by your thoughts. Because prior to the practice, most of us are not very aware of our thoughts. And we go through life constantly distracted, but not being aware of our thoughts. But sitting in silence and paying attention to your breath and having your thoughts arise and being distracted by it and reconnecting back to the breath, you're starting to create the landscape for stability of the mind. And through the stability of the mind and constantly cultivating the atmosphere to be present, what you find in time that you'll be able to you'll go from 5 minutes to sit for 10 minutes with less and less distractions by just being receptive, allowing and observing your thoughts, your feelings, and just following your breath. And it's a journalist's journey. The goal is the journey, and the journey is the goal. And I initially, when I came into the practice, I thought that this practice was going to make me a better person. And in time, I realized that that's not the basis of meditation. Being more peaceful, sleeping better, feeling more relaxed are byproducts of the practice. But the practice is essentially about reconnecting and realizing our essential being and being present with that space, and seeing and observing everything that arises without reacting to it, and just having that non-reactive awareness. So again, you don't need any special props in order to do mindfulness or meditation. You don't need a special type of home. If you can find a safe place in your home where you won't be distracted by other family members or friends or what have you. And again, start with as easy as 5 minutes, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, where you're just paying attention to the breath in a lovingly and gentle way. And when the distractions come, like with the thoughts, and you get distracted by it, don't judge it and don't try and manipulate it and fix it, but just slowly in a loving way come back to the breath. And you just keep doing that, and what you'll find in time is that more an increased stability in the mind. And you'll also discover that what you really are is not obscured or bothered or perturbed by the thoughts, by the emotions and the feelings. And what you are is this presence, is this loving space that is receptive to everything that arises and dissipates. Thank you.